Brought to you by the new Pharaoh's Lounge Kickstarter. Look at that shit. Joker, Burt Reynolds. Come on, Harley Parton. Come on. Who does it better? Who makes the fucking best art in the world? Pharaoh's fucking Lounge. If you want to see that poster, you gotta buy it. All right. Lions. Broncos. $100,000 game. 10 grand to first place. $60 buy-in. How do we win the big boys? By winning the small boys. All right. Amon-Ra St. Brown. Jared Goff. Russell Wilson. Jahmyr Gibbs. Cortland Sutton. David Montgomery. Sammy Laporta. Javonte Williams. Jerry Judy Duty. Bunch of backup quarterbacks. Josh Reynolds. Will Lutz. Riley Patterson. I'm assuming Mark Badgley was some sort of backup. The Lions D. The Broncos D. Adam Troutman. Samaji Pirine. Marvin Mims Jr. There another way. Jameson Williams. Jaleel McLaughlin. Khalif Raymond. That's it. That is it for captains. Khalif Raymond is the guy we start looking at right there. All right. Taking the top 6 cards in the deck. Amon-Ra captain. Goff. Wilson. Gibbs. Sutton. Montgomery. $14,000 deficit. Oh my. What is a man to do? Well, let's do a little bit of reading. A little bit of broadcasting. Scheme Mean Gene, baby. Amon-Ra St. Brown recorded 3 receptions on 9 targets for 21 yards in Sunday's loss to the Bears. St. Brown saw a fairly typical number of targets, but he posted a season-low yardage total. He got off to a fairly normal start to the game by recording all 3 of his receptions within Detroit's first 3 offensive possessions. However, he was shut out from there as the Lions' entire offense faltered in the final 2 quarters. St. Brown has been one of the most consistent receivers this season, but he has only 70 total receiving yards combined across the last 2 games. Man's a fucking beast, though. Look at those numbers. Look at those numbers. Jared Goff completed 20 of 35 passes for 161 yards, 1 touchdown, and 2 interceptions in Sunday's loss to the Bears. Goff turned in a decent first half, the highlight of which came to an 8-yard touchdown pass to Josh Reynolds just prior to halftime. Things fell apart from there, however, as he managed only 68 passing yards on 19 attempts in the final 2 quarters as the Bears pulled away. The performance ended a 4-game streak in which Goff had thrown for multiple touchdowns and also marked the first time that he's failed to throw for 200 yards in a matchup this season. He'll face a Denver defense in Week 15 that has not allowed a quarterback to throw for multiple touchdowns in 6 consecutive games. Damn. Josh Reynolds is on the board, along with the Broncos defense. Broncos defense. Goff hit Reynolds. That was it. The rest of the game was a shit show. Russell the Muscle completed 21 of 33 passes for 224 yards, 2 touchdowns, and 1 interception in Sunday's win over the Chargers. He added 6 rushing attempts for 5 yards. Wilson's first pass of the game was picked off deep in Denver territory, but he got a mulligan after the Chargers proceeded to turn it over on downs. He should have had a touchdown to Jerry Judy in the final seconds of the first half, but Judy failed to get his feet down along the sideline in the end zone. So the Broncos had to settle for a field goal to take a 10-0 lead to the locker room. Wilson broke it open with a 46-yard touchdown pass to Cortland Sutton in the third quarter, then finished off the scoring with a 10-yard touchdown pass to Adam Trout. The veteran quarterback will take a 23-8 touchdown ratio into Saturday's game in Detroit, with half of those interceptions coming in the last two games. Good Lord. They put them all in here, didn't they? Judy, Sutton, Troutman. Jerry Judy is on the board. Cortland Sutton is on the board. Adam Troutman is on the board. Jahmyr Gibbs rushed the ball 11 times for 66 yards and a touchdown in Sunday's loss to the Bears. He added 3 receptions on 4 targets for 16 yards. Gibbs split the backfield nearly evenly with David Montgomery, and the duo had nearly identical stat lines. Gibson ultimately had the more productive day thanks to a 12-yard touchdown run midway through the second quarter, his 6th trip to the end zone of the last 7 games. He's also topped 80 yards from scrimmage in 3 of the last 5 contests since Montgomery topped 80 yards. Since Montgomery turned from original. All right, I'm fucked up here. He's also topped 80 yards from scrimmage total in 3 of 5 contests since Montgomery returned from a rib injury. Gibbs should be in a favorable position to close the season, particularly in a Week 15 matchup against the Broncos defense. That is a particularly leaky run defense. Second mention for the Broncos in there, talking negatively, but there's no logic. This is the NFL. And David Montgomery is on the board. Cortland Sutton caught 3 of 4 targets for 62 yards and a touchdown in Sunday's win over the Chargers. Most of Sutton's production came on a sensational 46-yard touchdown catch in the third quarter, which he made with one hand despite being interfered with. It was the 10th touchdown catch of the season for Denver's top receiver, who has scored in 7 of his last 8 games. Sutton will look to build on his recent success in Saturday's Week 15 matchup with the Lions. David Montgomery rushed the ball 10 times for 66 yards in Sunday's loss to the Bears. He added 3 receptions on 3 targets for 19 yards. The Lions were forced out of their typical run-heavy offensive attack as they played from behind for nearly the entire game. As a result, Montgomery lost out on volume and split both touches and production almost exactly evenly with Jahmyr Gibbs. Since topping 100 yards in his return from injury Week 10, Montgomery has since failed to top 76 yards on the ground in his last 4 contests, though he has found the end zone in every game in that span before Sunday's loss. Gibbs is on the board. They're having the same amount of touches. It's almost like you got to put them both in the same fucking lineup. They're one running back. All right. That's the top 6 cards. Down to the bottom of the deck. Till we get back all the way up to Mr. Sam Laporta. Still nothing. 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 Cabinda. The Dark Knight. James Mitchell. D. Washington, old news from November. Tyler Badee reverted to the practice squad Monday. Badee was elevated ahead of Sunday's game against the Chargers, but was inactive for the contest. He'll now wait for another opportunity to be elevated to the active roster. Enjoy yourself. Jamar Jefferson. Hey, Mikey Bandy. We're looking for a $200 man. Traquan Smith, old news. David Sills Jr. Once a highly touted college prospect. The kid built from birth to be the best. Until he wasn't. Old news on Mr. Kennedy, old news on Mr. Sills. No news on Ferkser. Nothing on Fraboni. Alexander. Why are these fucking guys on the roster? They got nothing to say. Just there for the clicks. How big are these fucking rosters? Old news on Antoine Green. He's on my best ball teams. I wouldn't mind seeing him sneak in there, for a play or two. Atkins against the Texans. They didn't play the Texans, right? They played the Chargers. That's old news. But maybe some insight. Maybe. Nope. Let me see. Fuck it. Nate Atkins is inactive ahead of Sunday's game against the Texans. The 24-year-old tight end appeared in each of Denver's last 2 games, but it now seems as if he's fallen down the depth chart. The Broncos elevated Lucas Krull to their active roster Saturday, and with Atkins inactive, Krull will likely serve as the team's number 3 tight end in Week 13. Atkins has appeared in 8 games for Denver this season, catching 4 of his 5 targets for 22 yards and primarily playing on special teams. Lucas Krull is on the board. Sometimes I just like to read some of the old shit. Greg Dulcich has been ruled out for Saturday's game against the Lions. Dulcich officially remains on injured reserve and won't be activated until the Broncos' Week 15 contest. The second-year tight end returned to practice this week and will have to wait at least another week before gaining clearance. Adam Troutman should continue to pace the tight ends in routes and playing time. That's 2 for Trout. Manhurts against the Texans. Old news. Fuck 'em. Can't take reading the old fucking news. Michael Burton played 14 of the Broncos' 67 snaps on offense and carried once for 2 yards and holding his lone target for a 1-yard gain in Sunday's win over the Chargers. Burton had been active for all 13 of the Broncos' games to date, but Sunday's contest marked just the second time that he's logged more than 1 touch on offense. The 14 snaps were also 1 shy of a season high, and Burton will likely continue to have a limited role in a Denver offense that doesn't make frequent use of a fullback. Lucas Krull reverted to the practice squad Monday. Krull was elevated to the active roster for the 3rd time this season in Sunday's win over the Chargers. He played 19 snaps, 17 on offense and 2 on special teams, and caught his only target for 35 yards. If the Broncos want to utilize Krull again, they'll have to sign him to the active roster, as he's reached the maximum amount of elevations from the practice squad. The man gets in the game. Brandon Johnson. Old news. Craig Reynolds. Old news. Brock Wright played 24 of 65 snaps on offense and reverted 2 catches for 6 yards and 2 targets in Sunday's loss to the Bears. Though rookie Sam Laporta has established himself as the Lions' clear top tight end this season while playing in all 13 games, Wright has been able to carve out a decent-sized role as the number 2 option at the position. He's played no fewer than 30% of the snaps on offense in any of his 13 appearances and has drawn at least 1 target in 7 of the last 9 outings. Tight end 2. Remember what we say about tight end 2. They are the slate breakers. Know your tight end 2s. They make good 6 cards. 1,200 will be a little bit tougher, but old news on Donovan Peoples-Jones. Lil Jordan Humphrey logged 38 of Broncos' 67 snaps on offense and holding his lone target for a 12-yard reception in Sunday's win over the Chargers. For the second week in a row, Humphrey worked as the Broncos' number 3 receiver ahead of rookie Marvin Mims, taking on a 57% snap share to Mims' 37. Though his playing time appears to be on the rise, Humphrey is typically a little more than a tertiary option in the passing game, while often he shares the field with Cortland Sutton, Jerry Jeudy, and Javonte Williams. Humphrey has drawn exactly 1 target in 5 straight contests. That's a lot of name dropping right there. Marvin Mims. That's 2 for Sutton. That's 2 for Jeudy. And Javonte Williams is on the board. Bloody Marvin Mims. And we get to the first captain, possible captain. Khalif Raymond caught 3 of 4 targets for 15 yards in Sunday's loss to the Bears. Raymond operated as the Lions' number 4 wideout Sunday, playing just 23 of Detroit's 65 offensive snaps In 13 games this season, the veteran has recorded 29 receptions for 387 yards and 1 touchdown as a member of the Lions' crowded receiving corps. Raymond's limited playing time, however, make him difficult to trust for consistent fantasy production each week. The 29-year-old looked to make the most of his opportunities in Week 15 when the Lions host the Broncos. Interesting. Intriguing, if you will. All right. There we go. Okay. All right. Are they even giving this guy the ball anymore? Yeah. All right. Jaleel McLaughlin rushed 5 times to 25 yards and caught one of his 2 targets for 7 yards in Sunday's win over the Chargers. McLaughlin handled 6 touches for the second straight week and was only able to record 32 total yards in the contest. The rookie running back played just 13 of Denver's 67 offensive snaps behind Javonte Williams and Samaje Perine, with Williams continuing to see the majority of opportunities out of the Denver backfield. McLaughlin's fantasy utility is extremely limited, barring an injury ahead of him. The 23-year-old should not be a consideration for fantasy lineups when the Broncos finish the Lions in Week 15. Hey, they're giving you advice. That's 2 for Javonte. That's 1 for Samaje Perine. Needless to say, McLaughlin will not be a captain. Jameson Williams carried once for 4 yards and failed to secure either of his targets in Sunday's loss to the Bears. Despite playing the second most offensive snaps at wide receiver behind Amon-Ra St. Brown, Williams was held without a reception for the second time in 9 appearances on the season. The 22-year-old wideout's big play potential is intriguing, but his production is far too inconsistent to make him a reliable fantasy option. That's 1 for St. Brown. Amon-Ra St. Brown. Marvin Mims Jr. caught 2 of 3 targets for 11 yards in Sunday's win over the Chargers. Mims played 25 of the Broncos' 67 offensive snaps Sunday, running behind Cortland Sutton, Jerry Jeudy, and Lil Jordan Humphrey. The rookie wideout continued his disappointing 2023 campaign, as he's now recorded just 18 receptions for 298 yards and 1 touchdown. Mims' limited usage will continue to keep him off the fantasy radar when the Broncos visit the Lions in Week 15. Still, though, he's in play. It's 3 for Jeudy. That's 3 for Sutton. And little Jordan Humphreys on the board. Gonna live forever. No, he's below Raymond. Where were we? We read about Mims, right? Mims, did we just do Mims? Yeah. We just did Mims. Now we're up to Samaje Perine. Doesn't have a game status for Saturday's matchup with the Lions after he was a full participant in Thursday's practice. After being listed as a full participant Tuesday on the Broncos' first Week 15 injury report, Perine was downgraded as a non-participant Wednesday. But his return to full activity Thursday suggests his absence from practice was maintenance-related. He should be able to fill his usual role as the Broncos' preferred running back on passing downs, with Javonte Williams continuing to see the bulk of the snaps on early downs. Perine has drawn at least 1 target in all 13 of Denver's games to date, and he has already established a career-high totals in catches and receiving yards. 1 for Javonte. Passing down. So he's the 3rd down back. Broncos D, we like the Broncos D there at play. They have fucking scored some fucking points lately. Lions D, reliable Lions D, not so much. Kind of a boring D. You never know. Riley Patterson did not attempt a field goal and missed one of his 2 extra point tries in Sunday's loss to the Bears. Patterson now has scored 3 points or fewer in 3 of his last 4 outings. That leaves the kicker with 80 points through 13 contests this term. Badgley, nothing. Will Lutz made his only field goal attempt while converting all 3 of his extra point tries in Sunday's win over the Chargers. Lutz extended his perfect streak on kicks, connecting on a field goal from 23 yards at the end of the first half. The veteran now boasts a 93% success rate on field goals in 2023, matching a career high set back in 2018 as a member of the Saints. Lutz will look to get more involved and remain perfect when the Broncos visit the Lions in Week 15. That's a ringing endorsement. That is quite the endorsement. Josh Reynolds, listed as questionable for Saturday's game against the Broncos. Reynolds showed up on the Lions' Week 15 injury report Wednesday as limited due to a back issue, and he maintained that activity level one day later. Still, his status is up in the air heading into the weekend. Even if he's able to suit up Saturday, though, Reynolds hasn't reached 50 receiving yards since Week 6, and he's topped out at 3 catches in a game in 7 outings in the meantime. Questionable is back. Maintain that activity. Status is still up in the air heading into the weekend. Even if he's able, he hasn't been doing that great. Looks like he had that one good game last week. Recency bias. But you'll never know. Teddy Bitchwater. Steedham. Sudfield. Ben Danucci. Old fucking news. David Blowjob. Jerry Jeudy caught 2 of 6 targets for 16 yards in Sunday's win over the Chargers. Jeudy thought he had a 5-yard touchdown in the second quarter, but it was reversed upon review, and he failed to get his second foot down along the sideline despite seemingly having enough room to do so. He remains stuck on 1 touchdown in 2023, and Jeudy has posted 16 or fewer yards in 2 of the last 3 games. Jeudy will try to turn things around Saturday in Detroit, but it has been a disappointing season so far as he set career highs with 972 yards and 6 touchdowns in 2022. They're kind of taking a shit all over Jerry Jeudy, man. Javonte Williams rushed 17 times for 66 yards and a touchdown while catching 3 or 4 targets for 25 yards in Sunday's win over the Chargers. Williams opened the scoring from 3 yards out with his first rushing touchdown since Week 16 of the 2021 season. He finished with at least 20 touches for the 4th time in the last 6 games, while Jaleel McLaughlin and Samaje Perine combined for 7 carries. The robust workload can be attributed to both Williams being up to speed after tearing his ACL last year and the Broncos playing from ahead more often. Denver has won 6 of its last 7 games, heading into Saturday's tough test in Detroit. Shit, man, we like some Javonte Williams. McLaughlin and Perine. Is that Perine already? That is Perine. We already have Perine. So that's 2 for Perine. 2 for Perine. Sam Laporta. Cocksucker. Caught 2 of 6 targets for 23 yards and added 1 carry for 4 yards in Sunday's loss to the Bears. The rookie tight end's performance was a major disappointment following his season's best outing Week 13 when he recorded 9 receptions for 140 yards and a touchdown in a 33-28 win over the Saints. Despite his underwhelming showing for Week 14, Laporta remains a solid must-start fantasy option among tight ends. Hot damn. Must start. Must. Well, how do we get into these lineups then? That is everyone. Now, again, we have a $14,000 deficit. We want Goff thrown at the friggin' Brown. Wouldn't mind Wilson and Sutton here. So I'm thinking maybe we just knock out the running backs. Make this a shootout. What do you got? 39. Which gets you Troutman. First, let's look at how many mentions we got here. Detroit, you got 1 for Reynolds, 1 for Montgomery, 1 for Gibbs, 1 for Laporta, 1 for St. Brown. But we like St. Brown and Laporta. They're the shit. Maybe to go along with Goff, maybe to just not be with Goff. Put Laporta in instead of Goff. As for the other side, Broncos defense mentioned twice. We like them. They were on a fucking tear. Jerry Judy, 3 mentions. Cortland Sutton, 3 mentions. Adam Troutman, 2 mentions. Lucas Krull, fuck him. Marvin Mims, fuck him. Javante Williams, 3 mentions. Samaji P. Ryan. Lil Jordan Humphreys, intriguing. McLaughlin ain't playing. So who are we trying to get in? I'm thinking we're trying to get in Troutman. No. Javante, Judy, Sutton. Laporta, St. Brown. So no quarterbacks. We're going after the targets. Unless the target's already in there, then we're going after the guy throwing it to him. Right? 5 guys we're going after. Laporta, St. Brown, Javante, Sutton, Judy. Judy's the expendable one. Actually, I think I'm going after Broncos D. We'll see how it all plans out here. Laporta, Javante, Sutton. Now we can get Judy. Get all 5 of these motherfuckers right here. I want these 5 guys. I want these 5 guys in all my lineups if I can get them done. These are the guys I like out of what I read. Judy, Sutton, Javante Williams, Sam Laporta, Amon-Ra St. Brown. I'm trying to take a unique approach and win this 10 grand by doing no quarterbacks, unless I can squeeze them in. Down here, what they tell us, McLaughlin's useless, Raymond shit, but who's moving up the ladder? See, this is either going to be Lil Jordan Humphrey, who's like getting some 2s, or, who's sitting right there, tight end, number fucking 2, Brock Wright, who would they tell you? Even though Laporta has established himself as the Lions' clear top tight end of the season, Wright has been able to carve a decent sized role as the number 2 option at the position. He's played no fewer than 30% of the snaps in offense, and the guy has drawn at least 1 target less. The man gets in the end zone. Gets in the fucking end zone. That's all you need to know. Bang. Right there. Fucking, you hear that word? It's a bang. Bang. Zoom. Now, unless we want to ditch out on any captains down here. Raymond. McLaughlin's definitely, yeah, he ain't getting shit. So we're going to do another lineup real quick where I want St. Brown connected to his quarterback, right? Unless we want to run it down with 5 Broncos really quick. Let's get rid of Goff. Wilson, Williams, Sutton. Now you go Broncos D. Let's say you go Broncos D. What else can you get? Anything worth grabbing? William McGoffin, Little Jordan Humphrey, Brock Wright. Okay, so fuck that. Right? Hey, Judy. 500 left for who? For what? Burton, man, hurts. We didn't really like anybody in this pile. There was nobody we wanted here. Yeah, we don't like that. So, fuck Judy. Yeah, Broncos D. Defense against the captain. You got Mims right fucking there. Jameson Williams is a wild card.